Welcome back to the sermon preview. Well, let's talk about what's coming up for this Sunday. It's going to be from Isaiah, 2 chapters, Isaiah 5 and Isaiah 11. Coming off the heels of last week, if you remember, we talked about Hosea 11, and Hosea had a lot to say about God's love, particularly as a parent. This week, Isaiah is going to be a little bit harsher. And that's certainly in Hosea as well. We just didn't focus on that. But this week in Isaiah chapter 5, the Lord has a vineyard, and he calls his people the vineyard. And they have not produced the kind of grapes that were expected, that were anticipated, that were planned for because of their injustice, because of their oppression, because of their failures. Their failures. And so the Lord has judgment for them because of that. And that the judgment passages can be difficult to read, right? They're not what we want to think about with God. They're not what we want to remember, but they're there. We have to take them seriously, right? We can't ignore them. And so when we come across them, we have to sit with them and let them work on us and challenge us, to let them speak to us about, okay, maybe there are some things in my life that need to change. Maybe there are ways in which I'm not being just or good to other people. What needs to change in my life? That's what these judgment passages can teach us and do for us. So as you read it this week, and then as we talk about it, I want you to think about that. Begin to think about what is a passage like this from Isaiah chapter 5 saying to you, because it's really important. Then in Isaiah 11, in chapter 11, it's you're gonna come to it and you're gonna go, oh yeah, I know this one. I've heard this before, because it's a prophecy about Jesus. And so we're going to talk about this prophecy. We're going to talk about what it says, but also about the nature of messianic prophecy in general, because it's important, right? These passages spoke something to the people of Israel, and now they speak something different about Jesus. Maybe not different probably isn't the right word, but they speak another word about Jesus, right? Much like we saw last week in Hosea 11 in verse 1, where Hosea was clearly talking about the people of Israel coming out of Egypt, out of slavery, right? That God led the people out of Egypt. But Hosea takes that and says, but this is also about Jesus. Jesus himself, along with Joseph and Mary, went to Egypt to flee and then came back. So God called his son, his capital S son, if you want to say it that way, out of Egypt. So there are these fascinating ways that prophecy works, and that these words about the Messiah work. And so we're going to kind of take a look at all of that and think about that. But what I really want to focus on, of course, is the fact that in Isaiah we see this beautiful prophecy about Jesus, and it comes true, right? That the stump comes or that the shoot rather out of the stump grows, and Jesus comes on the scene. Maybe not as we would expect, maybe not as we would anticipate, maybe not as we might think would happen based on the idea of a new political kingdom rising up and taking over the world, but as this gospel sort of kingdom, as this good news kingdom that has this message to share about God and about his love, right? To take it back to Hosea last week, about his love for his children. It's all fascinating. It's all important. And so I'm looking forward to diving into these 2 chapters this week. And I hope you are too. Read them, chapters 5 and 11 of Isaiah, and come prepared, ready to talk about that together, okay? All right, that's it for today. I'll be back next week, of course, to talk about the next sermon. But I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of this week. Stay warm and take care of yourselves. And I'll see you next week, and we'll talk then. All right, have a great day.